All right, it's 4 o'clock on Thursday. It's time for the Real Estate Happy Hour Show.
We're back again, like every week. And we got a little Eric Clapton lead in.
Hey,
here.
good old school Layla.
Yeah. Man, I had a story. Now, I did get in a little bit of trouble as a youngster. And one day, I picked up a bass guitar. I went out, man, with a buddy in college. He played the guitar, and I thought it was so cool
That he could play.
that he was playing guitar. I was like, well, man, I'll just get a bass. We'll play together.
How
This'll
hard could that be?
Awesome, right? Beautiful, right? Well, I'm not super musically inclined, except for my angelic voice that sounds like Eddie Vedder. But other than that,
those are big shoes.
you know, the playing the bass guitar was not my strength. And this Layla song was one of the first bass lines I learned.
Is it just easy?
And I just played it over and over.
No matter what
and
song,
over,
it was Layla.
and over and over. So anyway, that's a good story.
Wow.
Yeah,
That is crazy, man. So
everybody
how's your
loves
week been going?
Week's been crazy busy, and it's a good thing. You know, we've got a lot of loans coming in right now. A lot of people looking.
Not almost all purchases, I presume.
Yeah, a lot of purchases. I haven't even really had time to get, to follow up on a lot of refinances, which I'd like to do.
Now, what about the media's talking about? Oh, here go rates again. They're rising again. But where they're rising from is not bad, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to get into it, but the 30-year is around 4.14 on average, 15-year at 3.6. So we're not moving anywhere fast. There's
So you
still
said 30-year at what?
4.14
Okay.
on average. So, rates are still down. I think they're going to be down for the balance of this year at least, and then, it'll depend on how the economy's doing, really how inflation's doing, and that's what the Fed's going to try to get ahead of.
And they're trying to say that they're going to stop inflation. Keep inflation where it is.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say stop. That would be an incorrect term. Talk about the quality of the applicants you're getting now. Are you seeing that we're getting a lot of qualified folks out there buying?
Yeah, I think right now on average there's a lot of, I'd say at least 60% are good and qualified, 60 to 70. Still got a few that might need a little time to work on some credit. And there's a couple things that I find myself telling everybody, which is, credit cards, have maybe a couple, maybe one or two.
Are you seeing folks without the credit card that have gone completely Dave Ramsey?
Well, not Dave Ramsey positive. I'm seeing people without credit cards and all they've got are negative, like collection accounts.
Oh, gotcha. So they had them at one point.
Yeah, they've got late payments. They've got negative items, and that's a tough thing. You got to, go to. I think Capital One has a good rebuilding credit card. Okay, so if you go to CapitalOne.com and you look, click on credit cards, it'll have the types. One of them will say rebuilding credit card. And rebuilding credit.
It's not made out of Legos, but
you have to give them I guess depending on your credit score, you got to get them a deposit of $49, $99, something like that, and you get a couple $100 credit limit.
So in other words, we'll give you a little bit more than you put down.
Yeah, and that'll report to your credit report. That'll report to the credit bureaus. So I see a lot of times some people will have a little bit of bad credit. Yes. Yeah, we are looking for some people. We are.
What? Receptionist?
Yeah, looking for a receptionist.
What?
Kate +8.
She's getting married.
Yeah, she's bailing on us already.
Man, she has good candy up there. So if you ever buy the mortgage bank office, man,
Stop
y'all give away real candy. None of that, like, just, hey, let me give you a mint. Y'all give Reese's cups. I think I saw Kit Kat. Man, that's worth the price of admission.
That's the real deal. So
worth the
come
price
on
of a
in.
credit pool.
Also got some positions with loan officer assistant type positions.
What about experience on these positions? Do you know?
That depends.
I mean,
Really
do you have to
depends on
have
No,
mortgage experience?
No, you do not.
So don't be afraid. Call them. They pay well.
Yeah. So come see us. Check it out.
The owner, Ben, is an incredible guy. By the way, just so everybody knows, these guys, and I'm not just tooting horn because you're sitting here.
Hallie Littleoff.
Littleoff
That is
is
not
right
a
there.
silent L.
That's right. She is the phenomenal
Littleoff.
client care guru over the Mega Agent team. No, but you guys win year after year best company to work for in Birmingham.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's because everybody's just cool.
Yeah, that's because I'm still here. I mean, I've been here for 15 years, and that's
saying
testament. That's
saying something in y'all's industry.
Yeah. But that's why so many people stay, because I make it fun. Ben doesn't admit that. Bruno loves being here.
Oh yes,
He'll never
absolutely.
leave.
He and his hot plate he has upstairs.
That's right.
So anyway, moving on. So we just briefly touched on the interest rates. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. I want to talk about mortgage shopping. Okay, so we hear this all the time. Look, it is a good idea to shop, but the problem with this industry is that a lot of people don't know what they're doing when they're shopping. And I'm going to make it real easy for you. Is you're looking at interest rate and fees. The problem that people stop on the rate and they don't. So let's say, for example, okay, you want to get pre-qualified today, right? And so you call, ring. Hey, I give you 3.875. Okay, great. Then you go out and shop,
and that's the only thing you're shopping, that's
the only thing. That's the only thing you know right
It's
now.
the only metric.
That's the only thing you know.
Okay.
You just left off, or you got off the phone, 3.875.
Okay.
And you go look for houses, and then you get back. You haven't asked enough questions about the fees. What am I paying to get that rate? What's the total package look like? Does this make good sense to me, or are you just selling me a rate?
Right.
Okay. I would say that. I'd say that 1 or 2 out of 10 people are excellent credit with, there's Tammy Hallman.
Hey, Tammy.
1 or 2 out of 10 are excellent credit, easy deals, right?
Okay.
Any loan officer in the business could close that loan. But the other 8 people, let's say, need help. They need a professional that can navigate the process, that can figure out your deal, put it together, structure it the right way.
Because what are you seeing is happening when these guys are going out and they're comparing and they're calling you going, hey, I got 2.25 on a 30-year fixed from JoeBlow.com mortgage company. What is your reaction when you hear that?
Well, there's always something behind the rate. Because not all mortgage companies price deals out the same way. They don't structure their estimates the same way. So you got to dive into that rate. How much money am I bringing to closing for that rate? Another thing a lot of people mistake are the prepaid items, taxes and insurance. That's a guesstimate. All right, so don't take your monthly payment and say, oh, well, the prepaid items with this guy's cheaper. Well,
yeah.
The mortgage lender doesn't determine your taxes and insurance. Okay?
When you're shopping, the best thing you can do, and I tell all my clients, and Tammy's here, I bet she does too, hey, give up the other estimate you got from somebody else so the other guy can beat them. Why? Because the property taxes are different, right? From you're guesstimating.
Yeah.
They're guesstimating, but what the trick is, these guys are guesstimating to the low side to make sure.
To make it look good.
Yeah, because they know that you're going to be honest.
Right.
And they're not.
Yeah, do your homework. I mean, I've got more Zillow reviews than any other lender in Birmingham, any other individual loan officer, okay? Mortgage Right has over 200, but that's their whole company. Mine are all just me.
So that would be Mortgage Wrong on Zillow reviews.
That's true. So I would just say you've got to really dig in there. I'd say 80% of the people really need a professional to help them. They need somebody that knows what they're doing. Look, it's not simple to now, man, especially right now. Let me tell you something. Right now it is busy. There are appraisers, attorneys, realtors, home inspection. You've got all these people that are getting involved. Every single one of them are busy. Okay?
And Mario.
And if you don't have somebody that can navigate the process and make sure the ball doesn't get dropped, which I handled a couple of these situations just today. Have a closing next week that hadn't been scheduled by the listing agent. I mean, look, if we're not following up on it, who's gonna take care of it?
You're right. The other thing, you mentioned 2 out of 10, right, are going to qualify and get the loan done.
2 out of 10 are simple.
But hold on, they go to Rocket. Oh, not the Rocket, the one with the rocket ship, or they go to one with a stagecoach. They may not close.
Yeah.
They were qualified. They fully should get that loan.
Absolutely, but even then, it could still get dropped. The ball gets dropped somewhere, and then you're sitting in a moving truck. Your kids are upset, because you got to spend a weekend at the Holiday Inn.
Look, and these guys, there's a lot of mortgage companies like, oh, you know what their sales point to us is always like, oh, well, we underwrite locally. Well, if you have idiots underwriting the loan, I don't care if they're in Kansas or Birmingham.
I'm telling you, the number one person you need to
be nice to.
No, the number one person you need to understand and trust and feel good about is your loan officer. I mean, it doesn't matter who's underwriting my file. It's my responsibility.
Well,
I'm the one
that's
getting
right.
the deal done.
Well, we had a thing the other day with a client, right, that got nervous because the underwriter called, and one thing they said to me afterwards, they called and asked them something had come up, but it wasn't bad. But it was
processor.
It was a processor.
Underwriters don't call anybody.
Oh yeah, the underwriter. Yeah, the
don't talk to
processor
anybody.
calls. But at the end of the day, they said, "Well, we trust David. He knew from the very beginning about the situation."
Yeah.
And they were just doing the process, just doing their job. So, but that's the confidence that you got to have in that loan officer.
Yeah, I mean we're talking about shopping, and that's look, you just got to trust the person you're dealing with. Yeah, the biggest thing is to identify red flags up front and figure out what's going to slow us down. What hurdles can we get out of the way? First few days, how can we set this deal up in the beginning to make sure the ending is great? And that's all you want as a client. You want the ending to be great.
And there's not much different. Let's be really clear. I don't care if the interest rate is not going to,
Hey, Tom.
The interest rates are not going to be different bank to bank for
Not tremendous. I mean, yeah, sure, you're going to find maybe, lowrates.com or something ridiculous that is never going to return a phone call, has no accountability to the real estate agents you're working with in this market.
But they're discounting for a reason. They have to, because they haven't had the they don't have the history of providing great service usually.
Right.
And the other
There's
thing,
always a trade-off. You get what you pay for.
the other thing to remind people is that a lot of times you're going through have you ever been through the drive-through at the bank and you've seen teaser rates on home equity lines and stuff like that? I called David one time and I said, "Hey, what is this?" I mean, it was an astronomically low rate. And you gave me the answer, and then I confirmed it with the bank. What they were doing, the bank was running a special because they needed to balance some of their portfolio because the deal wasn't there but for about a week. Right? So they needed some home equity. You have to have so much on deposit and so much loaned out.
Yeah.
And they were just trying to balance it.
Yeah.
There's nothing you guys can do.
So be
to
careful.
that.
I mean, you just got to do your homework. It's everybody's got their marketing that gets the phone to ring, right?
Yes.
And
some of them are great at it.
They're not telling the whole story.
But it's so funny is that y'all have at Mortgage Bank have kind of been old fashioned in the way you market compared to the rocket ships and places like that. But there's a reason they're still there. There's a reason they're one of the best places to work for in Birmingham. And I'm not kidding. This isn't them saying it. This is the Birmingham Business Journal saying it in their studies. But the other thing you got to look at is, why do no loan officers leave here? If they leave here, I presume they were never a good culture fit here, right?
Yeah, we've got.
So
I know we've got 4 or 5 of the best, highest producers in Birmingham. They're all here under the same roof. I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. I mean, you get shot with a Nerf gun, you come here too much, right?
That's right.
I mean, come on with it. All right, moving on. Right now, we're going to talk about, there's a lot of folks out there that are sitting on the market right now. There's a lot of houses selling, but there's also those people that have a house on the market right now, and they're going, why is mine not selling? And everybody else is. And we've come up with 7 reasons that yours is still on the market. And we're going to exclude the obvious, which was
a bad price, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's obvious.
Obvious, yeah. Obviously, the price is off. There's comps to figure that out. But I mean, look, if your house is on the market long enough, especially in this season where we've got probably the largest number of buyers, then there's people out there looking. There's nobody wanting to pay that price for your house, right?
Well, absolutely. They're not going to listen. The best advice that I can give you, and I'm sure Tammy, if you're listening, that she can give you, is that there's no amount of marketing that can overcome an overpriced listing. In other words, I could go get a Super Bowl ad, put your house right front and center in front of 1 billion people, and guess what? It's overpriced. It won't sell. No matter what we do.
That's right.
It won't happen.
That's right.
But Tammy's talking about she wants to get shot.
Tammy is asking for a Nerf gun war to break out next time she's here. So we're gonna have that arranged. Ray,
but you're not gonna tell her, by the way.
Yeah,
she can't know. It's
she
ambush
asked about it though. And Ray says we are still looking for humble, hungry, and smart LOs in the Birmingham market too.
For all of us idiots, as a loan officer, I presume.
Loan officer. Number 1, your house lacks curb appeal.
Man, that's a big one, isn't it?
Right.
There is one thing that is for sure. Curb appeal is the first impression they get. And listen, our job as realtors is to get you inside that house. And one of the best things you can do to help us is make them want to get out of the car. I can tell you, take a place like Edgewood in Homewood. I tell everybody, just make it cute. Just make it cute. Golly, these young girls that are coming out of college and stuff in Edgewood and all that, they will just, oh my God, look at how cute that is. I can walk everywhere. They haven't even seen the inside of the house. They're ready to plunk down the money or daddy's money.
Yeah. Now, isn't there some vanity to that too? Because if it looks cute from the outside, right, when your friends drive by or the neighbor.
Oh, you got that house.
Yeah, the neighbors think it's pretty. No matter what it looks like on the inside, it's already pretty, right?
Look, everybody cares about their vanity here, right? I mean, that's what they want. But the next one is you refuse to make upgrades. In other words, hey, you got the same laminate countertop, nothing wrong with laminate, but you got the same one you had in 1988 and the brass.
True story. Refuse to make upgrades. Now, could be a situation where maybe you don't have the cash saved up to make some big upgrades. But again, we're trying to explain pricing. We're trying to explain why your house is still on the market. So maybe we don't have the upgrades that are similar.
That's right. It's funny. This is funny. Amanda is so mad at me right now because, I haven't minded our laminate countertops. It's always something. But for years, she said, I want granite. I want this nice granite. Da, 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 da. Well,
I want the crappy granite.
Yeah, right. Not the crappy granite. But anyway, so now that we're getting ready to sell, guess what I'm putting in?
Crappy granite.
No, I'm putting in granite. But she's like, so now you wait?
Yeah. Oh, man, people do that all the time. People do that all the time. They make upgrades to sell their house, so they don't even enjoy it. They get it in and don't even get to live with it.
Well, I mean, I have a 9-year-old, so the problem is stuff gets
destroyed. What is she going to do to granite?
That's what I need to get over that.
This guy, his name's Collier.
Dang. All right, number 3.
I'm worried about granite in a 9-year-old. There's too much clutter. This is a big one. I mean, this can sour somebody without even knowing anything else about the house.
Clutter. Listen, I walk into many houses and I'm like, who is running the show here? I mean, the clutter can make everything else. Yeah. No one pay attention to anything else.
Yeah. It's like when you walk through a house and look at it, it's like you imagine yourself living there, and then you imagine yourself living around all this junk, and you just like, I want to get out of here.
I don't know if you remember looking at houses when you were buying, but I bet you probably looked at the room sizes. You were looking how your stuff fit in the space.
Yeah, you can't see that with everybody's junk in the way, right?
Yeah, I mean, if your underwear or panties are everywhere, I mean, geez Louise.
Or as Tammy, the houses that she sold this week had a big old rolled up rug in the room.
Just sitting there?
Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong. I don't know what you do with it afterwards. A little confusing, but or now it becomes a closing gift. Hey, if it's nice, I got it for you.
Yeah.
Until the police
number
come
4
get it.
is the roof is old. This is an interesting one. It can look ugly, huh?
It can look ugly, and one of the best ways you can tell if it and it's getting a little different because we're getting a little older. But the way I've been able to tell up till about now is if it has a ridge vent across the top of the roof. It's been a telltale sign if it's been, because in about 2005 it became pretty standard to put a ridge vent at the top.
I always think about the roofs in Bermuda. They were whitewashed, some lime rock, hard, so
heavy.
Yeah, and the water would wash down it and collect, and it was a symbol there that if your roof was clean, then you had money, right?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, so
you were rich.
Yeah, because
I'd be out there spraying because I didn't want everybody to think I wasn't, right?
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, I have seen some ugly looking roofs. The roof is an expensive thing to repair. So that's another thing. Your buyer's coming in saying, "Man, I'm about to drop $4, $5, $6 grand on a roof first thing."
And listen, you're not going to get one buy on anybody. Everybody's getting an inspection, for crying out loud. So you're not being cool and smart when you think, if you know that roof is failing.
Yeah, and the big thing about buyers, we always see this, is that cash is, again, there's a smaller percentage, but for the most part, cash is not abundant. So most people don't come into the house with $5 or $6 grand laying around to do a roof.
Yeah, they're now going to have to go do something else. It's easier for you to do on the front end. And in fact, I mean, I'm not a big proponent of it. We've talked about it before. But the hail damage, if it has hail damage legitimately, call your insurance carrier. You might get a cheaper roof with your deductible. It depends on the carrier.
Yeah. Number 5 is you still have renters. Come on, this one's obvious.
Man, They suck when they're in there.
All right, look, renters don't suck, Collier.
When you're trying to sell your house, they do.
But just blanket statement, they don't.
Oh, no, that is true. But the
when
context,
you're selling your house, you don't want to, because they don't have any financial gain, and they're actually losing in this deal.
No, there's no reason for them to show the house. Oh, I'm sorry that my panties were on the ground.
I'm about to get kicked out if you sell this house, so no, I'm not incentivized to do this.
I mean, we've seen some nasty stuff. All right, I'll go ahead and say it. Honest to God, I was showing a house out in Bessemer, like that exits.
It's right. It's
exit
right
one
here, Bessemer,
yeah.
right
So
here.
you can see on the screen, right?
Yeah.
There was, honest to golly, showing a house. Tenant living there. There was a used condom on the
Honest to golly.
on the bathroom
Somebody
counter.
just tuned in and tuned right back out. That's all they heard.
Yeah.
That's all they heard.
But imagine if
All
you're
right,
the owner.
Lost a listener. That's good.
Yeah. But if you're the owner of that, David, I mean, that person just destroyed my Southern Baptist buyer.
I'm telling you.
I mean, I tell
Not
you,
good.
Not good at all.
Number 6 is you hate showings.
Just a few people do, right? But you're selling your house. You don't have a choice in
Man, I
this
tell
matter.
you, showings are a pain as a homeowner. I'm not going to, every realtor probably tell you got to keep the house spotless if you have dogs or kids. I mean, everything, because you might get a call and somebody's going to be there in 30 minutes, right?
Yeah.
So are you going to, be able to get the whole house clean in 30 minutes? No, you just have to keep
Just
it clean.
show it like it is.
It is frustrating, but you got to be okay with the showings.
Well, and especially in a market that's driven largely by the medical community, right? So we got a lot of people flying in for the day. They need to go see houses. They didn't know they had a job offer till they got here.
Is Tammy putting her bikini up there?
I think that's what that is.
Maybe she has those laying around her house.
This guy. Mario.
The renters.
Or it could be Mario. Is it? No?
That might be Mario's
Yeah,
Speedo.
I don't know. He just couldn't find the one for Speedo, so
I wonder
he put
if that
on.
made
Yeah.
it on one of the calendars in years past.
Oh, boy. All right.
You're welcome, Mario.
And the next one is, and you hating showings is irrelevant once you put your house in the market, by the way. You didn't sweat the small stuff. This could be the biggest story here. I had an older lady paying cash, probably up to about $300,000, and I had found the right house for it. I mean, this was going to be the best house for her. I just knew it.
Knew it.
Walk in the house. I'm like, yes, look, what do you think? This is phenomenal. She goes, they don't take care of the house. And I'm like, how in the world do you not know they don't take care of the house? She says, look at the door stops. They're all bent over and everything. It's all smoke and mirrors, right?
So they just cleaned it up once.
Well, and so what I was so mad leaving there, and then it dawned on me, as mad as I was at her, right? It was her reality of what she perceived.
Yeah.
And these are dollar items that could have been taken care of, and they would have sold their house for the most money with a cash buyer, and they should have sweated the small stuff. The other thing I can tell you about sweating the small stuff is that women are 90% of the buying decision, and when they're 90% of the buying decision, other thing I do know about women is that they're great multitaskers. We're idiots as guys, right? We can only do one thing, but I have yet to meet a mom who isn't doing 8 things at one time, shuffling laundry, work, kids, everything. And I get that. And they're okay with big projects in a house. They don't want to have to move in and do door stops and all the little things. They're okay doing the big things. So sweat the small stuff if you're selling your house. Just sweat them for the women. Do it for the ladies.
So that's do it for the ladies. That's the 7 things that you might want to think about if you're having trouble selling in this market.
Tom Horn, who is an appraiser, just gave a used condom as a $5,000 negative adjustment.
Negative adjustment on the appraisal. That's going to look good. All right, so our last section is our stock market, personal finance. What do we got there? We handed out the old
earnings seasons, by the way.
We handed out the credit card, the rebuilding credit.
Yeah, stocks have been moving this week.
Yeah, stocks are killing it.
One thing we've been telling everybody, if you listen to our stock picks since day one, I was telling David at lunch today, if you had just listened to us, not necessarily we did it in the real world, but the stock picks, which we need to start taking our picks, you'd be really rich right now. But because you got Twilio, crushed earnings, Royal that we both are invested in, crushed earnings. Snapchat's on its way back. And granted, we lost initially on that.
Hanging in there.
What else we got this week?
Twitter's doing well.
Appfolio,
Iron Mountain's done well. Amazon is just absolutely killing it, just nonstop.
One that is a probably price to buy right now that we've talked about in the past, and I'll let you mention it briefly, is MJ, which is...
MJ is actually an ETF of marijuana stocks.
Yes.
So obviously that's kind of, some people would probably disagree with investing in that, but it's going to be a lot of money is poured into it in the different states.
You're not smoking it.
A lot of money's poured into it in the different states that the dispensaries are open, and then some of these companies are based out of Canada where it's legal. So
it's a great collection of stocks that it's a great play if you want to play the marijuana play.
Instead of picking just one, taking a chance on
like the big one now is Canopy, I believe. Right? Isn't that right? And there's going to be some growth here, and there's going to be a lot of growth and consolidation. I mean, just think back to the beer companies and all that, and then all of a sudden there were 10 years ago there were 5 companies.
Yeah.
So there's those, but really just keep watching Twilio. I just think that one's just going to keep rising. So.
Yeah, and the Fed came out a couple days ago and said that they weren't, still reiterated the point of them not moving rates, and they're going to continue to monitor the economy, trying to maintain inflation. So everything looks good from a rate standpoint with the housing market. I think the stock market obviously looks strong with earnings and the economy. So everything right now looks pretty strong. There's, that on the horizon of recession and changes, but hey, right now everything looks good.
Looking good. Anyway, we will see you next Thursday, but don't forget to share this Real Estate Happy Hour show page with all your friends. Don't forget the podcast edition is anywhere you find great
pod.
That's right. Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, all that great stuff. But we certainly hope you all have a great week.
Yeah, and if you need any assistance with real estate, any assistance with mortgage, just look us up. Like I mentioned earlier, we get reviews on Zillow. So, do your homework, but call us. Be happy to answer any questions that you got.
And before we leave, you need to say hi to your dad.
Hey, buddy. Thanks for joining us.
You're a little late.
Might have been a little late, but you can catch the replay.
All right. We'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a great weekend.
See you guys.
Bye-bye.